Hey everyone, it's NTG Training. Welcome to our new series of video guides that aim to give you an introduction to the basics of digital marketing. So let's start with just a short word about what we do. We are an apprenticeship training provider, and we're experts in training digital marketing apprentices. In fact, we offer a whole range of apprenticeships, but we wanted to help raise awareness for businesses about how hiring a digital marketing apprentice could really be a sound investment for your business to make post-pandemic. Digital marketing apprentices are often much more cost-effective than hiring a digital marketing agency. And here, they're trained by our in-house experts who have decades of industry experience between them. Okay, so let's get started with this guide. Today, I'm taking you through the basics of setting up some good SEO practices on your WordPress website. Not everyone uses WordPress to build their website, but it is one of the most commonly used platforms out there. Because of that fact, there are tons of useful SEO tools, or plugins, that you can use with WordPress to optimize your site. Here I have a really basic first WordPress website, and I'm just going to take you through some of the things that I'd personally do to ensure this site has the foundations needed for SEO success. Okay. So the very first thing I'm going to do is optimize our site title. This is one of the most fundamental ways you can tell search engines what your site does, so they can match it to a search term. You probably already set a site title when you set up WordPress, or your developer did. But just in case, head to Settings, then click on General to check this. Now this is just a baby step because we're actually going to enhance our site title a little later anyhow. So just ensure it's relevant and it doesn't have any dummy text like "Welcome to my WordPress site." Okay, now we're going to install our first plugin. What we want initially is a plugin that's going to allow us to edit our page titles and meta descriptions. If you're not sure what I mean by those, don't worry, I'm going to show you in a second. So, to install the plugin, head to Plugins on this left side menu. Then you want to click Add New, which is up here. This brings up WordPress's plugin directory, and it's a really great place to find new plugins and experiment with them. Just be sure to pay attention to the ratings. Now, in the search box up here, I'm going to look for Yoast. Yoast is my personal favourite SEO plugin, but there are plenty of others such as All-in-One SEO, Rank Math, and many more. They'll all have pretty similar user interfaces, so if you follow this tutorial for using Yoast, but you'd like to try a different plugin, you should find they have almost like-for-like settings to an extent. Okay, so once we've found Yoast, tap Install Now, and just wait for the plugin to install. Then, click Activate. This basic installation is a free version of Yoast, but you can upgrade to get more features once you're comfortable using it. Okay, so now you can see we're on our Yoast dashboard. There's actually not a lot of setup that we need to do. If you have access to Google Search Console, you can put your verification code for that in here in Webmaster Tools. If you're not sure what that is, don't worry, we've got a video on this later in the series. Alright, so to see what Yoast has enabled us to do, let's go to Pages, then click on Edit next to our homepage. When you scroll down below the editing box, you can see this new Yoast box. Here's where our page's metadata now lives. Yoast gives you signals for your SEO and your readability. Readability analyzes things like your sentence structure, how easily people can read your writing style, your paragraph or section length, and your keyword density. These are all the kind of signals that search engines use to rank your website. So it's a really good idea to keep an eye on these when you're creating content for your pages. On the SEO tab, over here, we've got to enter a focus keyword. This is the main keyword you want your page to rank for. It's worth mentioning at this point that Yoast won't magically make you rank for this, but it will give you the best shot at having all the right things in place in order to rank when you combine this page with other SEO techniques. So for the purposes of this example, let's say this website is a shoe retailer. I'm going to put women's shoes in the keyword box. Now let's add an SEO title. This will overwrite the title that we set in the WordPress general settings before. Imperatively, you want your brand name and your most important keywords here. And if you're targeting local search, you should put your location here too. Yoast provides some data, but you can delete all this and write your own title if you like to hit all the marks. Just make sure you don't keyword stuff. The title should sound natural. So the same sort of rules apply to your meta description. This is sort of the little snippet that Google uses, or other search engines use, under your title in the search results. Here you can elaborate on your target keywords a little bit more and use some descriptive or persuasive language. Yoast will let you know if you've put the right amount of your target keywords in and the right amount of text. Okay, so the slug, which is this box here, is just the tail end of your page link. This is another place where we can tell search engines what this page is about. On your homepage, you don't really need this, but on other pages, you can make your page have a nice tidy link. So for example, if this page was my women's shoes category page, I'd type women's-shoes here to get another strong keyword signal for SEO. Now if we scroll down, we can see that Yoast has given us some analysis results. Obviously, I don't have any content on this page because it's a brand new website and this is just an example. But here, Yoast will give you some suggestions based on your content. You can see, for example, it's recommending that I add our target keyword to the first paragraph of text, that I meet a higher word count, that I tidy up my headings and add my alt tags to images. I'll teach you about all those things next. Yoast also has tabs for schema and social, but for the purposes of this basic introductory video, we'll skip those for now. Okay, so you want to ensure those basic fields for Yoast are set up on every page on your website. And now that we've covered the basics of Yoast, let's have a look at some of the other key SEO foundations mentioned to us before. When creating content for a page, you want to make sure that it's really easy to read, short, snappy, and straight to the point. Search engines love it if the user can find what they're looking for really quickly. To do this, you'll want to use headings that tidy up and mark out sections on your page. So right now, I'm using the most basic WordPress editor. You'll probably actually be using Gutenberg editor, which I'll show you next, but I just wanted to quickly show you where your heading tags live in the basic editor. They're up here. You can see we have headings 1 through 6 and paragraph. Paragraph is your standard text, and headings are ranked by importance, with 1 being the highest. Alright, so let's switch over to Gutenberg, which is the standard editor in most modern versions of WordPress. Alright, so in the Gutenberg editor, we work in blocks, and that's basically just different sections. If I click this plus, then click heading, you'll notice I can choose my heading style here. Heading 1 is really only used for your page title, so for most posts and pages, we're going to be mostly working with H2 and H3. You don't want to overcomplicate things. When using headings, always think about including your keywords. So for example, instead of writing what we stock as a title on my homepage, I might write women's shoe brands that we stock. Yoast will love that. It's also important to remember not to use too many headings. Just use what's natural to break your content up and make it flow. Remember, your purpose is to impress the customer, not just a search engine algorithm. Another SEO content tag many overlook is image alt tags. These describe what your images are. So here, I'm just going to quickly insert a nice simple image for you. Now, if we click on this block, the image settings pop up on the right here. And here's the box for the image alt text. You can pop another relevant keyword here, but it should describe something similar to what the image is. Don't just use this as an opportunity to throw loads of keywords on your site. Word count is another thing you're going to need to consider when constructing your pages. Generally, from an SEO point of view, a higher word count gives search engines a greater opportunity to figure out what you're all about. But keep context in mind. There's no use writing thousands of words on a homepage, for example, because the user's just going to be overwhelmed or bored out of their mind. Most SEOs believe it takes around 300 words per page for Google to deem it significant, so try and use that as a minimum. As a guide, you should also have around 2 to 3 short paragraphs per section, and keep the vast majority of your sentences under 20 words. Blogs and guides are a great place where you can add 1,000 words plus. Pages and categories, however, should be more to the point. Okay, so there are loads of ways you can add further optimizations for SEO to your pages. But as this is a basic guide, let's move on to one more thing that I'd like to mention, and that's site speed. In Google's most recent updates, it really made site speed an important ranking signal. So essentially, slow sites get the boot. In the past, WordPress users had to install plugins to ensure their site ran as fast as possible. But now personally, I find that the last core WordPress update covered a lot of these things. They're mostly included in the standard WordPress installation now. So for example, we used to have to ensure all our images were compressed. So basically, slightly lower quality and only loading when they're needed. And that meant websites on WordPress could load up quicker. WordPress now comes with image compression and lazy load images as standard. So there's always this trade-off. If you install a ton of plugins, your site can become bloated and slower. So sometimes, but not always, image compression plugins or WordPress speed optimizers can be more trouble than they're worth. So in my opinion, you're better off working closely with your web developer to ensure you have a really well optimized theme for WordPress and that your website's fundamental design is fast. As someone who's creating content, you can ensure site speed by making sure you compress your images for web before you upload them to the site too. You can find some good tutorials for this with a quick search. It's worth getting into the habit of doing some regular housekeeping too. You can delete useless pages, inactive themes, plugins that you no longer use, images that you no longer use, etc. Make sure you do that regularly. You'll also want to ensure you're using the most efficient plugins. Do your research. Some will cover the functionality of several other plugins. Some are known for being notorious speed killers. You should also keep everything updated as frequently as possible. Developers are always making speed improvements to themes and plugins. And of course, security updates. Okay, so for now, we're going to end this guide here. Of course, we could go on and on about the fundamentals of SEO, but we do ensure we stuff our most extensive knowledge into the heads of our digital marketing apprentices. But we hope this guide will help you get started if you're a newbie and not quite ready to take on someone to be dedicated to digital marketing. Remember, we've got more guides in the works, so hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. You can also check out the link on screen for more digital marketing resources and freebies. Thanks for watching. See you next time.